I think it's about time that we take a look at what has been in my pockets for the past year now. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Talon and I make new videos every single week. So if you like what you see here in today's video, consider clicking subscribe because there's going to be more coming along the way. The topic we're talking about today is something that I really haven't highlighted basically at all this year. This was a big part of my channel. It's still a big part of my life, but we're talking about everyday carry, EDC for short, the tools, the things, the gadgets that you carry with you in your pockets or on your body every single day to make your life easier. Now, the reason I haven't done an EDC update in a while is because when I find something that works, I generally don't change it. And a lot of the items that you see here in front of you, they're pretty standard, at least in my eyes. You've seen them before and not a whole lot has changed, but I do kind of rotate out the items, specifically wallets and knives, sometimes bags, watches, things like that. So I basically gathered up everything that I could think of that had been in my pocket for like an extended amount of time this year, and we're just gonna kind of run through everything so you guys know what my EDC has been for the year of 2024. Now, before I walk out of the house for the day, main three things that you always think of are phone, wallet, keys. Phone, I'm not super into phones, but some people are, so this has been my daily driver for I think a majority of this year. I might have picked this up last year. I don't even remember, but it's an iPhone 15 Pro, not the Pro Max, so it is a little one. I have this thing in a Peak Design case with a MagSafe pop socket on there. I really like pop sockets. It allows you to control your phone a little bit better, and I like that it's MagSafe because I can pop it off and then use different phone mounts in my vehicles with this case on here. I do a lot of work off of my phone. I'll even like edit photos and stuff like that from time to time, manage my emails, phone calls, social media, basically everything that I do. I can't do it without this phone. So that's what I've been carrying. Battery life, not as good as the Max. So maybe in the future I would upgrade to the bigger phone again. But again, not super into tech like that. It's a crucial part of my life, but I just don't really care to talk about it all that much. So that's the phone. Now let's talk about wallet and keys. Wallets really haven't changed a whole lot. You're gonna hear me say that like 100 more times throughout this video, but for the beginning of the year, I was mainly carrying this guy right here, super small, lightweight. This is the Travax Summit, and this is kind of like my version. I got Travax to make it with a bright orange nylon strap on there. You guys know, orange is kind of my thing, so this thing has some wear on it, holds a bunch of cards, you can tuck some cash in the back, and it's just a super simple, lightweight, inexpensive wallet. Now recently, I kind of changed things up. This is a wallet that you've seen a bunch of times, and this also came out when we released the Travax Psi Collab Black line. This right here is known as the Travax Contour. This is the unholy contour as well, so it doesn't have the carabiner hole at the top that you may have seen on the other ones. A little more stout, top grain leather, kind of CNC machine frame to it, and this wallet is amazing. There are so many really cool small minimal wallets out there, but I always stick with Travax because that's what I've had in my pocket from the beginning. Some of the very first videos on this channel, you probably saw me reviewing these wallets. And one of the reasons that I actually switched back to this one, again, rotate through this stuff a lot, but phone, wallets, keys, I actually have a card key right here, and that is for my Tacoma. So I actually don't need to carry a physical key. I mean, this technically is a physical key. It's really slim and it fits into the unholy contour a little bit better than the Summit over here. I kind of rotate EDC items depending on the time of year, like the size and the weight of the gear that I'm actually carrying. So it's basically fall, almost winter time here in Colorado, generally wearing pants all the time. So it's easier to carry a wallet that's just a little bit thicker. So that is my current wallet. I'm actually gonna throw that back in my pocket so I don't forget it. And then for keys, when I'm not driving the Tacoma, right here's the key to my Supra. If anyone wants to buy this key, I'll give you the car with it. So on all of my keys, other than the Tacoma, I of course am also carrying the Travax Talon. This is a carabiner that I designed in collaboration with Travax, and There were a lot of them sold, different kind of finishes, different materials on here. This one is a 420 stainless steel in black. So this is one of the newer versions. We also did S35 versions with kind of like a anodized finish. These have been out for a while. You've heard me talk about them a lot before, and I have these on literally every key to any vehicle that I currently own. And it's a great multi-tool. It's got a Phillips head, it's got like a pry bar, flathead on there, clip it to my belt, and that is what I'm doing with my keys. Now the knife discussion is going to take a little bit longer because there's a lot of stuff here. I rotate through knives more than basically anything else. The one thing I don't rotate on, pocket light. I have a flashlight in my pocket pretty much 100% of the time, and this one was probably the very first flashlight that I've ever shown on my channel, just a newer version of it. But this right here is the tried and true Streamlight Micro Stream. It is a USB rechargeable light. It's just a high and low mode with a clicky tail cap on there. Love this thing, super lightweight, plenty bright enough. This is like the perfect EDC light in my opinion. It does have a clip on here so you can attach it to the brim of your hat if you're working with your hands and you need a light in a very specific spot. So these are inexpensive. You just pull kind of the shroud on the front there. It charges micro USB. Eventually, hopefully, those will be USB-C, and then it will be the actual perfect light. But until then, this thing has been in my pocket, and this one actually has had a pretty long life. I generally like lose these lights over time, or I give them to a friend or something and never get it back, but this one has been with me for a while, so it's going back in my pocket right now. Now we can dive into the hot topic of pocket knives, pocket tools, things like that. Earlier in this year, I would say like wintertime, January, February, March, I was traveling around doing my typical thing with this guy right here. I'm almost 100% sure I've shown you guys this before, but this is one of my favorite multi-tools ever. This is a Leatherman Signal. It's got a lot of functional tools on here, a blade that you can access from the outside, a little bit of serrations on there. It does have a saw, which I don't really remember ever using for anything, but this is kind of like a outdoorsy style tool. The main thing that I'm using with this is of course the pliers, wire cutters. It does have a bottle opener on here with a little carabiner hook, so you could clip this to a backpack or something if you wanted to. And then the Signal also has a little tiny sharpener on the outside there, which you can pop off, and it's kind of convex, so you can sharpen serrations with it. It's got a little flint over here so you can actually start a fire with this thing, and it even has a whistle on that too. So really cool multi-tool, and I've got a few Leathermans. I've been using Leathermans for a long time, but I don't always carry them every single day. However, when I'm traveling, especially when I'm in like the van or a camper, this thing is super handy. It also has a bottle opener, which is great when you're camping. It's got flathead, a little awl, and then a Phillips head screwdriver on there too. So, I mean, you really can't go wrong with a Leatherman, and it's got that pocket clip too. Not all of them have that, so easy to carry. Now next up, let's talk about folding knives. I was carrying that for a while, and then when I was down at the Flagstaff Overland Expo, I got a very early version of this guy right here. This is the Benchmade Mini Narrows, and this thing was in my pocket for a long time, actually before it even came out, so I wasn't really allowed to talk about it, but obviously it's out now. I've talked about it in some videos, and this knife absolutely rocks. I kind of rotate between the mini and the full size. So right here is the full size Narrows. This is an expensive knife, but out of the newest line from Benchmade, these are probably my favorite. They are ultra thin, they have great steel on them, very, very fidgety. And I go back and forth between fixed blades and folding knives all of the time. Again, really depends on what I'm wearing. So I don't know which one I like more, the mini or the regular. You guys will have to let me know. What do you like the size of the most? This is kind of like Benchmade bug out, and this is like a mini bug out. They're both great blades, and I think I'm gonna put the full size in my pocket for right now. Now we're moving down the line of knives to fixed blades. This one right here, I'm not sure if I've talked about this in a video yet, but when I was on my way back from Alaska, I swung through the Boise, Idaho area, and I was able to pick up this guy from my buddy TJ Schwartz. I have done some videos of some of his other blades, and this one may look kind of familiar to you guys. This is the Overland Sport. So I have definitely done a video on TJ Schwartz Overland. This guy right here is a mini version of that. And this thing just feels so good in your hand for a tiny little blade. It has a lot of the same features, like the handle being a little bit taller than the blade so you can cut up food when you're camping. If you're getting a knife for overlanding and camping and stuff like that, the full size is probably your best option, but this guy right here, it's tiny, it's really sharp. They're all made by TJ in his shop, which I was able to visit, so really cool. It's got an ulti clip on there, and when I'm wearing pants that allow it with like a 45 pocket on there, generally I had this in my pocket for a little while. And then of course I collaborated with my buddy Ryan at Two Feathers, and we came out with this guy right here. And through the prototype phase of this blade, I've done a full video on this thing right here. This is a SD3. I carried a lot of different versions of this blade right here. This is my kind of like first number 0 production blade right here. So we kind of narrowed everything down. I've talked about this blade quite a lot, and I think we've had like 3 different drops now. He makes these in batches completely by hand, and I love this thing. A little more self-defense on the mind with a blade like this, and if you're interested in hearing more about these and picking one up, definitely go watch the video, because as soon as those drops come, generally they sell out. Love this thing. Shout out to Ryan. Now, last but not least, for knives, this one is kind of out of left field, at least in my opinion. Some of you guys have asked me to talk about blades like this before, and I did not own one until a friend of mine generously just gave me this. He had some extras and he was like, yo, I'm trying to thin the herd. I know you would appreciate it, so do you want this blade? If you have not seen this before, this is the Grinsmo Norseman. Hopefully I'm saying that right. These knives are kind of exclusive. I've never got on the list to get one. And to be honest with you, I've never really like dove into everything about this knife maker, but I will say this is an absolute beast of a knife. The tolerances, the finish on here, the blade shape, everything about it is just really, really well done. This is a CPM 154 blade steel on here. I was also just organizing my knife collection, and I realized that this is like my only full kind of silver blade. So it is kind of like pocket bling. It's got a really nice lockup on it, which looks like it's adjustable. Pocket clip has been great, and I love getting knives as gifts because I carry these things all the time. This one I've been carrying actually for the past, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks or so, and it's a really good knife. I'm pretty sure there is kind of like a cult following for these styles of blades and stuff like that. So if you guys are into the Norseman, let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I'll bring you guys a full video on this blade. I actually have a lot of blades in my collection that I haven't really talked about much yet. So maybe we're due for some knife videos here soon. So those are the knives that I've been carrying. I'll occasionally throw something random in my pocket, but these are ones that have spent probably a majority of their time in my pocket this year. Now, 2 more things, kind of honorable mentions: watches and bags. Let's talk about the watches first, because this is a video that a lot of you guys seem to like. The one that has been on my wrist for basically an entire year. It has since come off my wrist a few times, but I've done a full video on this guy right here. This is my Rolex Explorer 2. I really went down the rabbit hole when making the video on this, and I kind of got like watch guy nerdy on you guys, but this thing still spends a majority of its time on my wrist. But after wearing it every single day for a full year, I decided, okay, maybe it's time to wear something else, get something a little bit different. So we have this guy right over here. Right here, a little more simple, not as expensive as the Rolex, of course. This is from a company known as Hamilton. Hamilton makes insanely cool watches, in my opinion. They don't break the bank for the most part, and I really want to make a full video on this watch. Really cool history, kind of something that hits home to me, but this one in particular is probably one of the newest versions of their khaki field watch. There's a lot of reasons why I went with this specific watch right here, mainly for the lume. I don't like the older kind of like faded looking lume, that like brownish kind of tan orangey type of lume that they put on there. So this is just like traditional kind of like glow in the dark colors on here. It is a white dial. I wanted to kind of switch things up since I have the black dial on the Explorer 2. Wanted a white dial on this. And this is simply a mechanical watch, not automatic, which makes it ultra thin, kind of a NATO strap on here. Very lightweight and very comfortable, especially when I'm going from something like this with a full bracelet. This watch to me just feels right at home on my wrist, and then when I have something like this on there, you basically don't even know that it's there. So this is a great tool watch, and I could definitely see myself picking up some more watches from Hamilton in the future. If you guys want to see a video on this, kind of really want to make a video on it, let me know in the comments down below, and I will probably do that at some point or another. Now, last but not least, everyday carry bags. This isn't something that I carry with me truly every single day, but a lot of times when I'm leaving the house for an extended amount of time, I like to have something small to keep just random items in, whether it's the items that you see here in front of you, wallet, keys, phone, things like that. I basically use these as sort of like a dump pouch, and I've talked about, I think, both of these in a video before. So this one right here is a small bag. I believe this is the modular sling, the V2 modular sling from Alpaca Gear. I do use an alpaca backpack from time to time, and I've definitely talked about these on the channel before, but it's just like a small kind of grab-all bag. I put a ton of gear in here. It does have sort of an admin pocket on the front there, and I can actually fit my point and shoot kind of camera in here, like a Q3. That actually fits in here. So when I go flying places and I don't want to bring a ton of gear, but I want to have a nice photo camera, I'll throw the Q2 in here, phone charger, AirPods, things like that. AirPods, that's technically in my EDC, wear them to the gym basically every single day, but I don't have those down here right now. But items like that would generally live in a bag like this, or this guy right here. This is probably one of my favorite bags that Vertex has released. Definitely this year, maybe ever. But this is the Long Walks kind of fanny or chest pack. It is a super lightweight bag coming from Vertex, which is kind of different from the Cadora and other materials that they generally make their bags out of. You basically don't even realize it's on you, and you can wear it across your chest or around your waist. I've definitely done a full video on this bag before too. This thing is great, and you can also CCW very well in here. That is something that, of course, we're not really talking about in this video, but people often ask, and I don't really show that on this YouTube channel anymore, but TS43X and TS19 are still the go-tos, and I really don't think that is going to change probably ever. It works, it's what I've trained with, it's what I know, and that is generally what's with me. So that was a quick rundown of my EDC for the past year. Some things change, some things stay the same. For some of you guys who have been on the channel for a while, this was probably pretty boring, but if you made it all the way to the end of this video, I'd appreciate it if you left a comment, left a thumbs up, and I don't know, I guess let me know what you guys want to see in the future. Again, making EDC updates all the time, I really kind of have to go out of the box to make an EDC video. I have to carry something that traditionally I wouldn't carry, and 9 times out of 10 I probably won't like it. Maybe I could say some good things about just a random piece of gear that I throw in my pocket, but for the most part, this is the style and these are the brands that I carry most. So I found what works, and hopefully you guys can do the same. Now I may have some discount codes and stuff for some of these pieces, so if you're interested in that stuff, I will try to leave some links in the description down below. Otherwise, there is a video basically on everything that you see here, so just scour the channel, go to the search bar on my channel and type in Vertex Long Walks Pack and you can find that video, or Alpaca Gear, Benchmade Knives, Two Feathers Productions. You can find all this stuff on the channel, and that is all that I got for today. So again, if you guys are new here to the channel, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every single week. As always, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you in the next one.